Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about some of my favorite Stan Lee cameos. Now, I did not make a list, but I am going to just come up with them randomly on the spot of just ones that come up to the top of my head that were probably the most memorable to me. Let's start off with this first one right here. The first one I want to talk about is the Tim Story directed Fantastic Four films. I know a lot of people don't really care for these movies, but I think they do have some nice moments, and the Stan Lee cameos I think are definitely ones that fans can agree with that were really nice. The first one, in the first Fantastic Four movie, he played a mailman who is actually a character from the comics. I forgot what the character's name is right now, but yeah, I remember reading about that. But the second one I like even more because he is invited to Sue and Reed's wedding, and he is actually playing himself. And to me, that was a funny thing because then right after he introduces himself, "Hey, I'm Stan Lee. I should be on that list." The security at the Baxter Building don't believe him, and they kick him out. So that was one of my favorite. That probably is one of my all-time favorite Stan Lee cameos. Another one of my all-time favorite cameos of his is from Spider-Man 3. I think he has a really nice scene with Tobey Maguire where he gives Peter Parker a little bit of advice for a little encouragement during a scene that needs to be a little uplifting for Peter because his life is not going so great at that moment in the movie, if I remember correctly. But it was a little nice, sweet little scene between Peter and the man who created it, especially since in the first two Sam Raimi movies, you can barely see Stan Lee. It's like a blink or miss type moment. I felt like the cameo in this one, in Spider-Man 3, was the one that finally got the cameo right, just in the wrong movie. With that being said, I really liked his cameo in Spider-Man Homecoming. I thought that was a really funny one where, Peter stops what he thinks was a robbery, then realizes that it wasn't really a robbery, that I think the person was helping someone else, and then people start yelling at each other to be quiet, and Stanley just pokes out a window and, "Hey, you better be quiet out there, I'll come down there." I thought that was pretty funny. A lot of his MCU ones are pretty funny. I'm just going to pick a few here because there's so many to pick from. I'm not too big on his Iron Man cameos, except for Iron Man 3. I thought his Iron Man 3 one was pretty funny. His cameo in the first Thor movie was funny. Obviously, the first Avengers, you got to talk about that one. The Avengers was like this huge big movie, and then you see at the end all these TV screens and people are praising the Avengers. There's a few people that think the Avengers were reckless, but his cameo in that scene was pretty funny because he's the one that goes, "Superheroes in New York? Pfft, give me a break." And it's funny that the creator of a lot of these characters is the one that's saying, they're not real. What's actually interesting about the Avengers, though, if you guys watch the deleted scenes, there's actually a much funnier deleted scene that had Stan Lee in it that they were originally, I guess, going to use, but they didn't because it was part of a separate little storyline that was going on with Captain America. It was that girl from the cafe, and I guess they were setting her up to be for a little flirtation for Captain America about thinking of moving on here in the present day. And they didn't use that storyline, but it's on I know the Blu-rays have it, probably iTunes or wherever you can find special features has it as well. But it was a really nice deleted scene and funnier than I think the one that they even used. I thought the one that they used was nice, but I think the one that they were going to use was even better because it had him at the cafe. It was going to be revealed after the girl talks to him for a little bit and she goes back to work. Stan Lee turns around from behind Captain America, Chris Evans, and says, "You should have asked her out, you moron." And for some reason, I just laughed out loud. I thought that was funny that Stan Lee is the one giving Captain America advice on dating. I did like his cameo in Avengers: Age of Ultron. I thought that one was pretty funny, where Thor gives him a little bit of Asgardian drink, I guess, to alcohol to drink, and then his friends have to carry him out while he's drunk and almost passed out. The Russo brothers have given him some really nice, funny moments as well. I thought all his scenes, starting from the Winter Soldier, where he's a security guard, and Captain America has taken the suit already, and he notices, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get fired for this one." And then his cameo in Civil War, where they even kind of bring it up again in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where in Civil War he was the male FedEx delivery man, and he's like, "Mr. I got a package here for Tony Stank." That one was a pretty funny scene. And then, like I said, they followed up again in Guardians of the Galaxy, where you said he was a mail carrier, even though there's a continuity error there, some people have pointed out. There was in Infinity War, of course, he was the bus driver driving Peter Parker and his friends to school, or on a school trip, if I remember correctly, and he tells while they're making noise when they see the thing going on in the air in New York, Stanley says, "Hey, you kids better be quiet back there. It's like you've never seen a spaceship before." That made me laugh out loud when I first saw that in the theaters. I thought it was hilarious, and it's still one that gets a kick out of me when I rewatch the Avengers: Infinity War. Black Panther had a pretty funny moment too with him, where Black Panther leaves T'Challa leaves his chips in the poker table at the casino. And then while Martin Freeman is there, Stan Lee comes and says, "Hey, I'm gonna hold on to this and take care of this while he's gone." So clearly, the old man ran away with the money. Man, yeah, there's a lot of good ones in the MCU films. The X-Men films haven't had some of my favorites, except for Deadpool. I think the first Deadpool movie had that great one where he's like a DJ jockey in a strip club, of all places. And I think I remember Stan Lee saying that was one of his all-time favorite cameos, and I wonder why. You're in a strip club. Be happy about it. So you could tell he had so much fun in those behind-the-scene videos working on that movie. I mean, that movie was a complete comedy. So, and then of course, any other movies? Daredevil, the Ben Affleck Daredevil had a pretty good cameo with him, where he was gonna cross the street while not paying attention, and the kid had to stop him while the kid is blind. Yeah, there were a lot of really good cameos out there. Oh, one cameo that doesn't get a lot of love, or I never hear it much, is his cameo in Big Hero 6, where they kind of set it up earlier in the movie, where you see a painting, and the painting looks very familiar to one of the characters' father. And then later at the end credit scene, because Big Hero 6 is based off a Marvel property, so you need to have that end credit scene to make it an official Marvel movie. Stan Lee has a voice guest appearance in that one too. Speaking of voices, I saw Teen Titans Go to the Movies recently. I didn't do a review for it, but I should have, because I saw it recently. It came out on Blu-ray, and I decided to buy it because I heard pretty good things about it, and I'm going to admit it. It was a worthy buy. I laughed quite a bit on Teen Titans Go to the Movies. And guess what? Stan Lee has a cameo in it, and it is funny. I loved his cameo in Teen Titans Go to the Movie. I thought the movie was really good. If you haven't seen Teen Titans Go to the Movie, look, I judged it at first because of the animation style, and I said, this is not for me. This is not for my age group. If you're a DC fan, check out, or if you're a fan of superhero movies in general, please check out Teen Titans Go to the Movie. You will be pleasantly surprised and highly amused by what you watch. With that being said, any other cameos? His Simpsons cameo, or guest appearance, I guess. He had a couple of scenes, I think, in that episode. One or two scenes. Where he's with comic book the guy the entire time. I thought that was a funny episode with Stanley. And Stanley's moments are really funny, too. They gave him some funny lines to work with. And, of course, you can't talk about Stanley cameos without talking about probably the biggest cameo he's had in a feature film, and one that gave him more than one line to work with. Mallrats. Kevin Smith directed the movie Mallrats, came out in 1995. Some people consider that one of his all-time greatest cameos, and I agree. I think it was a great cameo for him. So, with that being said, everybody, I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Leave down your comments. Tell me your thoughts on your favorite Stan Lee cameos. Are there any that I missed that I should have talked about? Comment below, because there are so many great ones out there. With that being said, until next time, everybody, Excelsior!